And what is up, DTV? Once again, I'm Eric Day's friend, as I'm sure you know by now, and I'm going to be giving my review of Game of Thrones Season 5, Episode 8, Hardhome. And this was a good one. Very good episode. So, I'll start with Arya. So, Arya's in the House of Black and White with Jacker Hagar, and she's being given a mission to become this girl, Lana, to sell oysters and get intel on this gambler in Bravos. And to be perfectly honest, I'm getting kind of bored with her story now. I didn't mind it in the first couple episodes, but now it's getting a little boring to me. I mean, she was so good in season 3 and 4 of The Hound, and so good in season 2 having scenes of Tywin Lannister. I just think she's so much better when she's out there in the world as opposed to confined like this. I mean, I understand we have to see her train, but I really hope next season she's back out and about. She's much better that way. So I'm going to talk about Winterfell. A very good scene with Theon and Sansa Stark. So Theon comes in. Sansa's pissed at him for telling Ramsay of her plans to escape. And Theon tells her, "Look, I was helping you. There is no escape." And from his in his mind and from his point of view, he was helping her because he knows what it's like to try to escape and what happens when you fail. And she's like, "If I could do what Ramsay did to you right now, I would do it." And he's like, "Look, I deserve this. I did terrible things. I deserve to be with Reek. I betrayed Rob. I killed 2 boys." And she's like, those weren't just boys. They were like your brothers, Bran and Rickon." Then he gets around to telling her he didn't really kill Bran and Rickon, which was I'm glad he told her that because it at least gives Sansa some good news. She really needed something after what she's been going through. So I'm glad she knows they are out there. She does have family out there. We don't know where, she doesn't know where they are, but she knows that he didn't kill them. So that's what's going on in Winterfell. So next I will go to Marine, which had some very good stuff. So Jorah and Tyrion are talking to Daenerys. Jorah tries to speak, and she just basically tells Jorah, "Just shut up. I don't even want to hear from you." She starts talking to Tyrion, and Tyrion gives her his reasons of why he's there, that he wants to potentially advise her. And then she gets around and saying, "Okay, what should I do with Jorah?" And he's like, "Look, this guy would die for you. I think he's in love with you," which I think he is. I think he is in love with her. But if you want to rule, you can't have him by your side. So she once again banishes Jorah, which upset me. Come on. Enough's enough. So Jorah then gets banished, and once again, he's going to fight in the fighting pits to try to, I guess, impress her or, win back her favor. But again, he's infected with grayscale, so we don't know how much time he really has. I don't know how long it takes to spread, but he's still in trouble. Remember, he's still infected with grayscale. But a little later on, Daenerys and Tyrion have a very good scene where they talk. Tyrion starts to go into his background a little bit, and they bring up how they both have terrible fathers. Daenerys acknowledges, "I know why my father, the Mad King, got his name." Tyrion's like, "One day I promise I'll tell you why I killed my father, the entire story." And I thought they had a very good rapport, a very good chemistry together. I really thought their scene was very, very good. So I'm looking forward to seeing more of them. But I wish she didn't banish Jorah. That's my only complaint with that. So next, I will talk about Cersei, who is finally getting what she deserves. So she's in the place with the High Sparrow in a cell, and the woman keeps coming in and is saying, "Confess, confess," and she won't confess, and she keeps dangling water in front of her to taunt her. She keeps slapping Cersei, and Cersei's just like, "Look, I'm not confessing anything. I would rather die than confess to the High Sparrow. I made him what he is, and I'm not doing it." And it's quite a shock to see someone go from so much power to being powerless basically right now. And she even had to resort to licking water off a dirty floor. I mean, this is Cersei we're talking about, so seeing that is very enjoyable, I must say, because she's not a good person. She's someone that deserves what she's getting, but someone did tell her there is an out if you repent and confess. So we'll see what happens with that. So finally, I will get to the best part of the episode, the wall stuff with Jon Snow. So Jon and Tommen Giants mean, arrive at Hardhome, and they're greeted by the Lord of Bones, who we haven't seen in a while, and the Lord of Bones ends up pissing Tommen off, and he ends up smashing his head in and killing him, which I thought was kind of funny. But Tommen's like, look, we need to assemble all the council of all the higher wildlings, because we need to tell you what's going on and what we're proposed. So Jon and Tommen explain their plan to the wildlings. Some are like, nah, some are like, yeah. But then a wildling asks about Mance Rayder, like, where is he? And Jon's like, I put an arrow in him. And they, of course, this was their king, they all start flipping out, well, we're going to kill you. But Tommen backs Jon up and says it was an arrow of mercy. He was going to burn to death by his other king, Stannis. And Jon was brave and showed him mercy and killed him before he was able to burn to death. So after explaining, you know what, speaking of Mance, I just want to touch on this for a second. This episode confirms a change from the books that I'm not really happy about. I haven't read the books, but I have been told of some changes, and I kind of wish the show stuck with what was in the books. It regards Mance. I'm not going to say what it is. If you want to know what it is, you can message me, I'll tell you. But I kind of wish the show stuck with what happened in the books. But anyway, so some of the wildlings are on board with going to the wall for protection against the White Walkers and the undead, and some are still nah. So they're all departing and leaving, and then all of a sudden you hear dogs barking, and you hear what looks like an avalanche. It's not an avalanche, it's the undead coming. So the White Walkers who don't get on the boats are just running to get in a gate, a giant gate. A lot don't get in. You hear screaming and yelling and shouting, and then all of a sudden, as the undead approaches, you hear nothing but silence. So all the wildlings that didn't make it in are now dead and become members of the undead. Then just a massive attack happens, and it's really a slaughter. They just start killing wildlings left and right, these creepy undead. Some of the wildlings put up a fight, Tommen, this wildling girl, Jon, of course, but it's really one-sided. They're really getting their butts kicked. A lot of people are dying. One thing I did learn, though, if you get attacked by the undead, having a giant comes in handy. Because he was kicking a little ass. He was definitely a big help. His name was, I think, 1-1 or something like that, the giant. He definitely helped, but Jon ends up in a predicament where he's facing one of the White Walker lieutenants, I guess you would call him, and he looks like he's about to die, but he breaks out his sword, Bearclaw, which is Valyrian steel, which was given him by Jorah Mormont's father, the former Lord Commander who died in Season 3, and it stops the White Walker's weapon, and it shatters the White Walker, so it kind of shows Valyrian steel has an effect on them, which was pretty cool. But, you know, as I said, it was basically a slaughter. Then came the scene with this wildling girl, who I was kind of enjoying. I was kind of sad this happened. She's just confronted with a whole bunch of undead, which are kids, children, and she just puts down her weapons and they just consume her and kill her, which was kind of gruesome. I was kind of sad about that. I was kind of digging her. Yeah, she was kind of hot. But at the end, Jon and Tommen realize they're just overwhelmed. They got to get out of there and get on ships. They get on the ships and leave, but as they're departing, the White Walker King, I guess you would call him, has a stare down of Jon, stands there, and all of a sudden just raises his arms. It was kind of like, reminded me a little bit of The Undertaker in wrestling. And everyone that was killed, all these new people that are dead, are now members of the undead. Their eyes become white, and they are now White Walkers. And this is what Jon was telling everyone was going to happen. The wildlings will just become members of the undead, so it's better to have them on our side. But they have this epic, massive stare down, and just silence. It was creepy. Definitely creepy. But as far as battles and action pieces go, it's definitely up there as one of the best. I still think Blackwater is the best, but this is definitely up there. It was definitely exciting stuff, good stuff. But I really liked the episode. Next week is episode 9, and 9s are notorious for being great episodes. Season 1, Ned lost his head. Season 2, the Battle of Blackwater. Season 3, the Red Redding. Last season, the Battle at the Wall. So we'll see what happens with this year's Season 9. It should be good. The previews make it look good. But yep, that's what I thought. Really liked the episode. You know, I think the season's ending better than it started, but yep, that's what I thought. So I want to thank everybody for watching this review. Remember to subscribe to DTV, and I will catch you guys later. See ya.